Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. So, I've got a little idea for a new video. So, Gabriela, she says, how did you break your rituals, rules, structures, if you've had one? Okay, so I think I was not very extreme in that. So, I did definitely have routines and rules and stuff like that. But I was never able to have like a complete normal routine because simply in my life that was not possible because there are so many things that happen. But I can tell you about a few things that I had to break. And I mean, in general, if you want to break a rule, you just have to do it. And there's, I think, no tip except for being very, very strong. And yeah, I don't know how to explain. You just have to really, really push through and do it, even though it's really scary and it makes you feel so bad. But the more you do it, the better. So one thing that I definitely had was like I would not consume any liquid calories. I think for me that was like the one of the most difficult things to break, and I've talked about it quite a few times. But whenever I was with people, like whenever I had a coffee, it had to be black. I would never take anything else than water except for maybe alcohol. But even with alcohol, I would either take wine or shots. Like I would not, or it would be very difficult for me to, for example, take a cocktail because I would be like, no, that's unnecessary. um, but generally, I would usually when we would party, I would just take shots and water. So, that was very difficult for me. These liquid calories, and how did I break it? So I took really long until I started breaking it. And I started doing it by very small things. For example, when I would do a tea, I would add honey and I would be really scared. And I would then drink it and be like, you know what? And to be honest, I would always tell myself, like, it's not necessary to put it, so who cares? Like, I'm just not gonna put it. But the problem is with things like that where you think it's not necessary, there's always situations where it is going to be kind of necessary. For example, I do scouting, and in our camps the tea, it has sugar in it. That's just normal. And if there's nothing else than water, it happened before, you have to take the tea if you're thirsty, and it has sugar in it, and you will need to be okay with that. And because I don't want to live a life full of panic attacks, I'm just gonna see like and drink things with calories in it. So I would start rather small, like really put a little bit of honey, and then I would just continuously add more and more. And after maybe a week or a few days of drinking tea with honey, I would start to add a little bit of milk in my coffee, a little bit more. At some point, maybe I'm gonna add a little bit of caramel, a little bit of that. I would just add a little bit more. And with some things, I just had to jump into it. For example, with soda, it's not possible to, like, I don't know, mix Coke and water and then gradually increase. But there, it was really about just buying the bottle, staring at it, breaking out in tears, but still drinking it. I would go to the shop, and my mission was to really challenge myself, and then I would just do it. But of course, I had to be extremely determined. I remember the first times in before, like my first ever try, I already knew how scared I was of these things, so I would challenge myself to buy a smoothie. And I remember the first two times I went into the store and I walked out with nothing because my head completely overtook what I actually wanted to do, like all of these ED thoughts. So, what I would recommend is as soon as you have a little bit of maybe today I could try to have a soda with my food, you'd immediately do it. You really try to stop any other thoughts. Like you hear a little bit of that thought and you immediately do it, because if you think about it for too long, you won't do it. That's my experience. And that's the same with like rituals. You're saying that It's been 5 years of eating apple and peanut butter oatmeal for breakfast, which is insane. I cannot believe it because even in my ED, I also ate oatmeal. I mean, that's like the typical food. I nearly always ate oatmeal, and my breakfast was always kind of like the most important meal in the day. Because otherwise I probably wouldn't have gotten out of bed. But yeah, I mean, what can you do about it? You can stop eating that and start eating other things. And you have to be careful that you don't get stuck on another food, but like you keep on trying new things. So in your case, I would suggest you have to force yourself to stop doing it, and you already, maybe you buy it a day beforehand. You buy yourself a few croissants with Nutella or something that you're scared of. I'm pretty sure, like, or even toast with Nutella, something that is not traditionally healthy or whatever. Just something, or maybe it could even be breakfast, like eat whatever you're craving throughout the day anyway. So you're saying you crave a lot of chocolate. Me, sometimes I eat chocolate for breakfast. Not kidding. If I don't have anything other in the house, I would just eat chocolate eggs or something for breakfast. So just stop doing what you usually do, which is very difficult. You're gonna cry probably. You're gonna feel very nervous, very stressed, and that's normal. There's, I think, no tip on how to not feel bad while changing your behavior, because that's the whole ED. Like, it keeps you in your routine, in your ritual, because otherwise you will feel bad. So the only way of breaking out of it is to feel bad and break out of it anyway, you know? So yeah, stop it. Stop tomorrow. I think today you already ate breakfast. Stop and then completely change. You can also eat freaking dinner for breakfast, you know? So today I ate a slice of cake for breakfast. I'm gonna post another what I ate in a day tomorrow from today, because I want to show you like 2 days, because I feel like one day is not representative. Because I was not craving bread. We don't really have any milk, so I couldn't eat cereal. And I was not, like, since I'm in recovery, I don't eat a lot of oatmeal anymore. I ate a lot of oatmeal in my quasi-recovery. But yeah, I mean, that's it. Food by itself doesn't scare me as much as changing my meal routine. Okay, so then change your meal routine and be again scared. It will take you a few weeks, but then you will get more chill. And yeah, important, as I said, you cannot change it and then be stuck on that again, but you have to change it and change it and change it until you're like, you could eat whatever for breakfast, it would be okay. So yeah, I'm thinking about other rituals, rules. I mean, one ritual that was, I think in my quasi recovery, I was very extreme with rituals, because I was like, I ate a lot more than in my ED, but I had extreme rituals. So I would go on a 1.5 hour walk each and every evening. Really. After I was studying, I would go on a walk. And then what else? And so how did I stop it? I just had to force myself to not go on it, and I would feel really bad about it. I would feel super lazy. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna gain weight, blah blah blah. But that's how you feel. You feel shitty about it. And the whole point why people don't manage to do recovery is because they're so scared. But you really have to get over it and be scared and be really just feeling bad, because you know in the end what's your goal. Your goal is to not be stuck on some routine or ritual. What other rule structure did I have? I mean, in my ED, I was really focused on breakfast. I would always eat quite a big breakfast that was very nutritious. Like, actually, I think my breakfast was what kept me. And then throughout the rest of the day, I just always try to eat as little as possible. And I always had to eat less than other people. I think that was one thing that really, really was important to me in my ED, this comparison to other people and having to eat less. And so how did I get out of it? I think for some time of my recovery, I was just very isolated because of COVID. So I stopped caring too much. And then as soon as I was with people again, I was scared again to eat more than them. But like I was just more hungry than them. There's no other thing. Like I simply was more hungry. So I had to eat more and I had to start to get okay or be okay with it. And it's the same with all other things. I think the first few months it bothered me a lot. Even the first year, I would say. Even last summer when I was pretty recovered, I could eat everything as much as I wanted to, whenever. But the fact that I ate more than my friend, it still bothered me. Even though I was like plateaued at my weight for half a year, there was still this thing in me that was bothered by it. But I kept doing it, and now I find it very funny that I eat more than other people. But this, I don't know, it really, there's no other thing that I can tell you than just doing it, feel bad about it, doing it anyway, repeating. And yeah, just stop yourself from your behaviors. You know what you're not doing right, and you know how to stop it. You know how you can stop eating your same breakfast every day. You just don't want to because you know you're gonna feel bad about it. So what do you have to do? You have to have a strong mind and just change your behavior and accept that you're not gonna feel good at the beginning, but it's gonna change with time. And yeah, also about exercise. You're saying that that's also what is kind of like triggering more than food itself. So I think I've mentioned it before, I was not too crazy about exercise. Very much in my quasi recovery. In my ED, I literally didn't have the energy because I was working all day long. And on the weekends, I would always be active and stuff. So I feel like I was like my whole daily life took out enough energy that I didn't have energy for exercise, except for going on walks. But I can tell you one thing, I was very crazy about always walking. So even when I was pretty recovered, I would still like, if there was a possibility to take a metro or public transport, I would never do it. I would just walk. Even though it was 1 hour, people would think I'm crazy or like I'm weird for walking that much. And it was I mean, I still really enjoy walking, but it's like, girl, sometimes just chill and go by foot, especially because in my recovery, I wasn't even that energetic. I just, it gave me a better feeling about myself if I walk more. So how do you stop it? Even though you have time to exercise, you have time to walk, you don't do it. I had to start forcing myself to, for example, where I live on the 4th floor. So I simply had to stop myself from taking the stairs and start taking the lift. And after a few times, it's gonna get normal. And even though people might comment like, oh, why are you taking the lift? Just do it, okay? Who cares? It's not about anything but about your real recovery. And yeah, so that's how you break out of your routine. You break it, you change your behavior, and you feel bad about it, but you still do it. Hope that helped. Bye.